Hey, Fanboy Nation.
This is your pal Daffy Duck, and you're watching.
We're watching Fanboy.
A fanboy, etc.
Fanboy Nation.
Dot, I assume Tom.
The more company, the better. But Tami, I think the first time we spoke was for Paper Canoes, and I was confused by the name because I was like, isn't it going to sink because it's paper? And they're like, no, like at camp where you guys put it on the lake and everything. And I was like, I never went to camp. So I had nothing to tie it to. And then, but Greg, Tami, congratulations on this film.
Awesome.
A lot of fun.
I think it is a funny thing. Thank you so much.
It's been quite the journey for sure.
Yeah. Was this inspired by Men Without Hats safety dance?
Absolutely, categorically not. Not that I don't love that.
Wait, but that
track.
song, like, is
Yeah, like because
that's a great song.
It's an awesome song and a great video, right? Like an incredible video.
Yes,
so,
yes.
I
think it's a little bit inspired
maybe
by
subconsciously. That was certainly like, on a loop when I was a young person. So yeah, I mean, I guess, but not consciously, no.
I mean, Man in Witch, the Dance of a Thousand Steps, the song Safety Dance takes place at a Ren fair. This is
I mean the vibe is totally right.
I think
totally
you're
right.
onto
and
something.
we definitely looked at that video in the like research process, when we started to think about like what the movie was going to look like. That one definitely came up,
But we were also just thinking about the way that dance was functioning in the 80s in films like Footloose and Dirty Dancing, and like there were just so many dance films.
Yeah, it's like we were talking earlier today about how like in the 80s, like almost every movie you had to have like quicksand. I don't know, like like quicksand just came up a lot, whether it's like Our Tax Dying or Princess Bride, there's quicksand. Steve Austin was always in quicksand. I feel like quicksand was everywhere. So like in the same way, we feel like dance in the 80s was just like this trope where for some reason culturally there had to be dance, right? Like, so whether that's like you're at a weird camp somewhere or there's like you make a dance in the city, like dance was a thing. And that felt like a funny kind of challenge, to put into the film, especially because when Tami was trying to teach me our wedding dance, it was like a terrifying and traumatic experience because she's a dancer and I'm not. So that was really the inspiration. But it felt like an awesome kind of like 80s thing to make somehow dance be part of this universe in the world that has an outsized space in the Contented Kingdom. Anyway, we love the gag.
And do we have to worry about quicksand in this film? Because, one of Tami's primary films left us wrecks as children with a quicksand scene.
I mean,
we feel bad. We should have put it in.
I feel like a moron as a writer for not thinking of putting quicksand into the movie, and I'm like, oh my god, I think in the sequel I have to like start with quicksand scene.
I think that
it was right there to be had, and I missed it.
No animals will be used in our
but there's nothing as traumatizing as our tax singing in the swamp of
no
sadness.
puppets going down in quicksand.
We understand that if there's certain things you could do in the 80s that you don't do anymore. That was killing animals is one of them.
Well, he didn't die. The horse did not die.
I know, but come on.
Listen, it goes back to the 60s with Batman and Robin. Robin got trapped in the quicksand, all the way to Atreyu getting trapped in the quicksand. So
It's a great thing.
It's a good gag.
I can't believe I missed it. Next one, sure.
No, but I mean, you guys have a great time in this. Christopher Lloyd is phenomenal. Sean is narrating. Like, you have such an incredible cast. It almost like you guys got to play pretend with your friends, and the movie was like, oh yeah, we're kind of doing this whole film on the side as well. Not to say that the movie isn't good. The movie's a lot of fun, but like the way it's coming across is you got to hang out with everybody that you love while filming the film.
That is literally how it was. It was sort of like there's something odd where you see someone in a film and you feel close to them because you had this experience with them, and so I've definitely had that, with people, and I know that people have had that with me, and it is a really fun thing to suddenly be across from Christopher Lloyd, who, you know, you're like, oh my God, it's Christopher Lloyd, and I get to just act with him. It was really amazing. It really was.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, for me, like, you know, working with Sean in the studio to do the voice of the dog was just a magical experience. You know, it's like he's someone who I've watched over and over and over again throughout the decades. And obviously a very genuine person, also an important person in the acting universe, but also just, you know, an actually good human being, you know?
Very much so.
So that was one of the things that we just feel really works about Man and Witch was everyone who was in the film did it for the right reasons, you know? This isn't like a huge Hollywood film. It's a really lovely story. And it feels like everyone who was in the movie just wanted to be like working on that story, which felt like the right reason to do it. So you can't manufacture that. That's sort of a lot of luck in a way. Anyway, we feel incredibly lucky.
Yeah.
Like that was an like really magical experience. And honestly, the Scottish cast too had an incredible bond, right? It was a short amount of time shooting, but they could not have clicked better. Like it was pretty incredible that way. So we feel really lucky, you know.
I felt like Eeyore in the film because I'm always sad and crying.
Tammy's always
and like
sad.
everyone around me is like laughing and like joking, and then they get on and they're really funny in this scene, and it's like, no, it's Tammy. Like,
that's your brand, babe. That's your brand.
Like, it's just like, in come the gray clouds.
Tammy's crying again.
Well, so long as you're not a method actress in that regard.
No, it was like, kind of want to be over there where everyone's having fun.
So Greg, to get the performance out of Tami, you had to ostracize her from the rest of the cast in order for the rest of you to have.
Well, I mean, she's the lead producer, so she is ostracized from the rest of the cast.
I was basically just in the office writing emails.
No, Michael Hines was, you know, one of his great qualities as a director is to kind of get out of the actor's way, right? Is to hire the right actors and give them space to do what they do well and to take chances. So one of the like big moments for me where I was like, okay, we're getting this right, was Stuart Bowman, who plays the king, like went to Michael at one point, a couple days into shooting the court sequences, and he was like, Michael, is it okay that I'm doing this? Michael's like, it's great, I love it. And Stuart, you'll never see Stuart Bowman this way. Like he is
so
doing incredibly funny stuff, and he doesn't get permission to do that in his other stuff, you know. So that was pretty awesome. And Tami was the same. Michael was like, Tami, you own this, right? This is going to be your thing. So you know, you bring it, and I'll try to get the camera there. Yeah.
And Greg, be honest, since Tami was born in Iran on a business trip for her parents, her and Shohreh were sitting there speaking Farsi to each other and talking dirt on everybody.
Of course.
Awesome.
Yeah, the ladies together.
Awesome. I mean, yeah.
Shohreh and I, like...
Yeah, because we know how Persian women gossip, so like right. Tami got to revisit that.
Yeah, again, that was like one of the
highlights,
most magical thing when Shohreh got the script, read it, and responded the way she did. I literally cried. And a big part of that was, you know, there was that connection between Shohreh and Tami, where they had that shared history of having to leave Iran, you know, and it totally works for the movie. Like it just is it's so connected. That whole scene is so connected.
So she invited us to her house the night before and cooked us a beautiful Persian dinner of all my favorite foods growing up, and I still eat those foods now on every holiday because it's like the smells that you grew up with and the flavors you grew up with, like you can't, that's just, you know, it's just part of you. So it was really, really great. And then we bonded all night, and then the next day we were on set, and she was like my mom, you know.
She's incredibly warm and awesome.
Very warm. Yeah.
No, I've gotten to speak with her as well because my dad was from Iran, so it's all this fun little tie-in stuff.
Yeah.
Before anyone gets mad at me for saying Persian women gossip, and they're like, "Who's this guy talking bad about Iranians?" I was like, "I lived it."
I you're so right on. It's like, and Christopher Lloyd was so funny, and he was, I mean, honestly, the chemistry was amazing. It was really, really fun, and Shohreh's actually in town in New York. She's doing a play at the Atlantic right now. So I couldn't get tickets though because it's sold out because it's Shohreh.
You never get things
And then you guys just get to hang out backstage and have dinner afterwards.
that would be nice. Yeah, that would be nice.
But yeah, she's incredible.
You know, the two of you have been a couple for a while. You've worked together in a theater production. You live together. Now you're making movies together. Apparently you're not sick of each other, so congratulations on that. You know, when you work on A Man and a Witch in comparison to productions at Paper Canoe, you know, where everything's a one take live versus multiple takes here, what were some of the breaking points that you had on set that you just kept cracking up, or a dance step that Greg just couldn't get right that had to be reshot but became like core moments, memory moments for you?
I'm gonna burst your bubble a tiny bit.
No spoilers.
No spoilers. We were on such a tight schedule for Man and Witch because we had a very ambitious fantasy film to do on an indie budget, right? Having that theater background was really, really critical because we had 2 takes per scene and on to the next one. We weren't a Hollywood film where you can do it 30 times and discuss the nuance. Like it was much more like having that theater background where it was difficult because you had to be like, okay, where was my head, you know, in that scene 30 pages ago, because this has to stitch to that scene. I have to start the scene at the emotional timbre I was in last week here. So when you're in a play, it's linear and the story kind of carries you. But the takes,
You're never going to get credit for this
2 takes,
with
go.
the audience, right? The audience is there to be entertained and moved. They've paid their money. They deserve that, right? You're never going to get credit for the way that we made Man and Witch. But to have the film be as moving and as funny as it is, given what we had to do to make the film, relative to what you would normally see in a Hollywood production, we should get credit for that, right? But we're not going to, and that's okay because that's just that's the movies. But yeah, we did everything in 2 takes, maybe 3. If they were really, really indulging
If something
us.
went wrong.
Yeah.
If something went wrong.
And you know, I don't think I'm telling tales out of school here. Like a lot of the Man and Witch scenes were put at the very end of the production, and we were out of time.
Yeah,
right?
we had to just do it so fast. So it was.
But we don't get credit for that, right? Like people are just like there to be entertained, so they don't. That's our trouble.
I just think it's such good luck that we had been making plays together.
Yeah, we had a shorthand.
We're used to that. So okay, it's a 1 take and we go. Like that's how we do it.
Yeah.
So in some ways, you know, we had this real disadvantage that we weren't movie people. We were trying to do this really impossible thing with not a lot of experience. And then on the other hand, there were these little ways in which the past experiences we had were actually really helpful for the kind of movie we ended up in.
The benefit of being a stage actor coming into film, and there are some disadvantages, but the benefit is repeatability, right? You can do the take the same way again, if need be, right? Just with craft and technique. That's the difference between, you know, someone who's working in a slightly different way in terms of the actual technique. So, and that's when you don't have 10 takes and it has to be right every time, that's an incredibly useful discipline to be able to rely on.
I only have one request, is that I get to do a set visit for the sequel and you don't make me dance. That's request subpart A.
I'll give you a little so this is I probably shouldn't say this, but when the sequels are ready to be in production, we'll be shooting somewhere warmer than Scotland, probably.
Well, okay, so yeah, we had to pretend like it was spring in the takes, and I was in this little white silk dress, barefoot, dancing on the hill, and what you don't know is the ground is frozen. And in between,
we love Scotland. We'll shoot there again, but
takes, there's put me in this giant coat with hand warmers, and it was hailing.
Yeah.
And then the hail would go away, and they'd take everything off, and you're like, oh, it's springtime. So that was funny.
Definitely warmer locations in some of the next ones. Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, 8 toes Tami at this point after freezing a couple of them off. Greg, it's been a great pleasure. Man and Witch is coming out through Fathom Events July 28th and 30th. 2-night engagement. Congratulations on this. A lot of fun. This is an all ages film, not just a kids movie, not just a family film. All ages can enjoy it. It's clean, it's fun, it's something we really need right now to enjoy ourselves, especially in this tumultuous time. I really thank you for giving us joy for 90 plus minutes.
Thank
you. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for talking with us.
Goal. Thank you so much.
By the way, where can we find you on social media? And remind everybody about the Children's Theater Paper Canoes, where we can find them.
Awesome. So Man and Witch Film on all the social platforms, all the usual suspects at Man and Witch Film. You can always find Tami on her socials, Tami Stronach, NeverEnding Tami. And Paper Canoe Company, you can follow. We're very focused on making the movie right now, so we don't have a whole lot going on stage. But we would like to go back to stage soon.
Yep.
So, but Paper Canoe Company website is always a good place to stay up
And to get tickets, Fandango, you can go to Fathom Events, and you can get tickets at manandwitch.com.
Yeah.
And genuinely, please come see it in the theater.
If
it's
you buy
so
a lot
much
of
better
tickets,
in the theater.
if you buy a lot of tickets for your friends,
Oh.
you get cool things like this hat.
And like this shirt.
I love it. Thank you so much. It's been a great pleasure chatting with you today.
Thanks.
Bye.
We'll see you.